Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, I am very, very happy to be showing you the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live-action movie action figures from NECA. These are the San Diego Comic-Con ones. They're not the giant 18-inch ones, and that is just awesome. It makes me very happy that these exist, and I'm very happy to show them to you. Now, before we get into actually talking about the figures at all, I want to point out the packaging is just like the original artwork for the VHS or for the movie posters. I can't fit it all on the screen while showing them, so I'm just going to pan real quick so you can see that's what it looks like. And then if you wanted to get them on display in their packaging, you can't do it. This has, it doesn't have a window on the main part of the packaging. You have to slide it off. All right, and so if you wanted to display them in the package, you can do it, and they would be open like that. I know a lot of people have talked about that, or at least I've seen a lot of people asking me about it, and they were like, well, how do I display it if it's got the poster on the front? You can still display it like this, and it still has like the side artwork and then some artwork on the back and stuff like that. So if you want the action figure type packaging, it's this. VHS type packaging, it's that outer sleeve. So you do have some options there. And then obviously we have these figures, which are not exactly the same as the big figures, only smaller. So it's kind of awesome. I like these a whole bunch, guys. They did a lot of things really well. A couple things have some issues, and we'll talk about all of it. So let's go ahead and get them off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, so these guys are all generally the same height, so I'm just going to measure Leo here so you guys have something to look at as I do it. He's just shy of 17 centimeters, which makes him just about 6.5 inches, which would put him at basically the 1/12 scale. Most of the Marvel Legends or what have you are about 6.5 inches for a 6-foot guy. So this is definitely well within that range. Technically, the Turtles are probably supposed to be a little bit shorter than that, but this is definitely okay. I'm fine with it. I think this is a good sweet spot because they're maybe a little bit too tall officially for a 1/12 scale, and maybe a little bit too small for anything bigger. I mean, obviously you could find a scale that fits it directly, but I don't think they're necessarily in scale with anything exactly, which it sounds like a downside, but it's not. It's a good thing. You can pretty much put them with any figure you have between NECA's 7-inch figures or your 6-inch figures. You can even maybe squeak out some of the imports, and it's going to look pretty darn cool. And I'll show you these guys up against some other figures, a variety, to give you an idea at the end of the video here. But these guys are just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous figures. They have all the paint and details you would expect out of the big ones, except they're little, so that's awesome. I'm going to run through each one briefly. You can see Leo's sword scabbards there's like 4 shades of paint on here, maybe only 3. But either way, it looks really, really good. The shells are very nicely detailed. I think he and Mikey might share the same shell. I know the other ones have unique ones. Yeah, it looks like he and Mikey do share the same shell. And it's interesting because they also share the same arms, which is screen accurate, so that's good. Sculpt-wise, that is. The paint, you see they have unique spots. And I can go ahead and just show you both of these at the same time. They do have unique belts and obviously unique heads. Very, very nicely done. Nicely shaded. The belts are just very cool. Great paint all the way around. It's basically the same paint jobs as on the big figures, but on the smaller ones, the rivets are all painted. The toenails and fingernails are painted. The faces are done really well. I'll show you those real quick. There's Leo. There's Mikey. Mikey's is particularly well done. The eyes are they nailed it. I mean, Leo's are equally good, but you can definitely see Mikey's. The bandanas now are sculpted rather than cloth, so that's good. And then they do just peg in, so you can rotate this part around if you want to. It's kind of a soft plastic, so be careful. You don't want to twist it right off or anything, but you can do that. So that's all. Oh, there you go. Mikey's moved. Mikey's moved as I was holding him. So that's fine. And then we have alternate ones. We'll get to the accessories in a minute. So let's go ahead and look at Donnie, because Donnie and Raph have the same arms also, the same sculpt. They have that weird tricep area, but that's okay. So same sculpt there. The shells are not the same, though. I believe he has a different shell than the other two. We'll check in a second, but his is definitely different. He's got the scratches on it, which is very cool, very screen accurate, so I like that. And obviously he's got the side holsters in his belt, so that's nice. Very, very well done. Very clean looking. His one eye is kind of googly on mine. His right eye, the one that's on the left of the screen, not great. Hopefully I can get a replacement or something for that, but it's not a total deal breaker. It just kind of looks like he's cross-eyed. So that's kind of a bummer, but I imagine that's going to happen. Not on all of them, because the rest, out of all the 8 eyes that are on these guys, we only have one that's not quite right, so that's good. So here's Donnie. He's got his unique belt system also. Unfortunately, there's no straps in the back for his bow, so I'm not sure what's up with that. I don't know if that's something like maybe it's a factory error and they're going to send them out to people, or maybe they're just not going to do it, or I don't know. That's a little bit weird. I'll reach out to them, see if I can get some info, but well, I won't get the info in time for this video, so it might be an update or something like that. Let's real quick check the shells. I'm pretty sure it is a different shell. Yeah, it is. So mostly unique sculpts all the way around. The bandanas are unique, so that's good to know. All right, so now before we get into the articulation, let's go ahead and talk about the accessories. So the figures all out of the package come with gripping hands on them. I'm pretty sure, I don't think I switched any. Either way, we have gripping hands for all 8 limbs, okay? So that's good. Then we do also have 2 thumbs up hands, and all the hands are interchangeable across all the turtles. 2 gripping hands that are the different pose gripping hands. Then we have 2 pointing finger or gripping hands for Raphael's size, and then we have 2 kind of flat palm hands for like holding something else. We do have different bandanas for each of them to give it kind of more of a windswept look. Of course, we have a TCRI ooze canister. We have our pizza box, which it's even more impressive at this scale. Very, very nicely done. And you get 8 slices of pizza in it, so that's really cool. And then, of course, we do have our iconic accessories. We have the 2 swords for Leo, Mikey's nunchucks with the dual ropes. We have Donatello's bow, which is very nicely detailed with the wraps on there. And then Raph's size, which, again, nicely detailed. Very well done. They hold the weapons very well. I am very pleased all the way around with these guys. You know what? Let's use Mikey. The articulation's the same pretty much everywhere, so no worries there. As far as the heads go, it might be a double, could be a single, I'm not sure, but you get phenomenal range. Side to side, no problem. Up and down, he looks up pretty well, looks down really well. Of course, you have your full rotation. Man, I love it. Very, very well done. Like I said, these guys in some ways are better than the big ones. Very, very nicely done. For the shoulders, you get the shoulder hinge. That's only about the same as the big ones. That's a little bit of a bummer. I get that they did it for aesthetics. It would have been nice for better range, but that's totally not a problem. I get it. Full rotation. No bicep swivel, though, but you do get a swivel down here out of the elbow, which is actually a straight-up double hinge. You can see both parts of the hinge, and you do have the soft elbow pad. It's just kind of floating on there. It's kind of snug, but it does just float. So you can be careful with it, but you can get a little bit better range out of these elbows than you can out of the big guys. Like, that's better than 90. I might even be able to get a little bit more. So that's awesome. I love the enhanced range. And, of course, it swivels on both ends. That's to give them the nice clean sculpt work up there. So that's good. For the wrists, you have a swivel, of course, because they're interchangeable. And then you have a hinge. All of the hinges, unless one of the turtles has a unique one. Let me check. I didn't think to check that yet. I'm pretty sure they're all the same. Pardon if it's blurry as I'm doing this. Yeah, all of the hinges are just the standard, this kind of hinge. None that go up and down, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it's not an absolute deal breaker. You're still getting a heck of a deal for these guys. Absolutely love them. Okay, and then for the torso, there's still a ball peg in there. It's not as floppy as the big guys. They don't flop around at all, really. But I'm not sure how good that's going to be for posing. It doesn't really afford much. So maybe that's more of a necessity for the manufacturing. Either way, it doesn't look bad or anything, so that's fine. For the hips, you just have your straight up hinge. This is softer plastic, so you can flex it and bring the legs pretty far forward. Takes a little bit of force, but almost all the way out. Again, I mean, you're still talking about Ninja Turtles, so the limited posability is going to be somewhat expected. So they don't go too far back. Going out to the side, it's a little stiff, but you can get them out there almost all the way. So, I mean, you could probably even force it a little bit more, but that's almost full-on splits, so I don't want to risk it. But that's fine. Really, really good there. Thigh swivel's good. Double jointed knees. Straight up double jointed knees. Same issue with the knee pad. It's floating, so it won't get in the way. It will rotate up here if you need it to, the knee joint that is. But you can get really decent bend out of it. You have to be careful. You don't want to just start cranking on things. Make sure you do counter pressure so that you're not just, don't just rip it off. Like push so that you make sure you're actually using the joint properly. But you get at least 90 degrees out of the knees, which is pretty good. And then for the ankles, we actually have a hinge joint rather than just a ball peg. So you can bring them all the way back and pretty far forward. Like, that's exceptional. That's really good. And then you get your ankle rocker, which is a little bit offset, but mostly not. So just about perfect in every way. I mean, obviously a couple spots you could have better range, but aesthetically speaking, it's almost perfect. And then for the range, given the fact that it's almost aesthetically perfect, how could you ask for more? Like, this is, like, I think the perfect balance. I don't think they could have done better with these guys. They look almost 100% screen accurate in terms of the articulation, everything, having seams and stuff. You really can't beat it. It's, and I don't just mean because you can't get better versions of these turtles, because obviously that's going to be absolutely the case. But I mean across the board of any figures, I don't think you could get more screen accurate and afford the same articulation that these guys have. It's really well done. Now there is one downside, aside from Raphael's one eye being a little iffy and Donatello missing his straps. Their hips are a little loose front to back. Not like fall off the shelf loose, at least on mine, but they are a little bit loose. They're not completely floppy, but they are loose. Be careful. Like his is borderline floppy in some poses. So you do have to be really careful with that. They're not 100% perfect. I don't expect them to be. I think what we've gotten is an exceptional pack of figures. Absolutely exceptional. For the price point, you can't beat it. I think they win SDCC with these, and I don't even have any of the other ones, but I can't imagine anything being better. This is just, well, I do have the Dragon Ball ones, but we've seen those all before, so I don't think you can find something better. These are exactly what anybody who was going to buy these should have wanted. If they wanted more, they were being unreasonable. If they wanted less, well, then they're going to be very happily surprised. Gosh, these are just gorgeous. They're so good. I can't recommend them enough. If you're going there, make sure you pick up a set. If you're not going, so I know this is like a sore topic for a lot of people, but there's some light at the end of the tunnel, guys. Every turtle set NECA has done has been crazy popular. Maybe not as popular as these, because these are the live action ones and they're exceptional, but they've been pretty darn popular. They sold out super fast. Everybody was freaking out, and now you can find them fairly easily without spending much more than retail. I imagine the same thing's going to happen here. Have a little bit of patience. If you didn't have good luck in the first case, you'll have some patience, and you'll be able to get them. So don't freak out. Take a breath. Woo-saw. You'll be all right. They are awesome. It's probably going to take a little while, but you're going to be able to get them. So chill out. Be happy. You're going to get them eventually. Just have some patience, and it'll all work out in the end. And you definitely need to get these guys. 100%, 1,000,000,000%, I recommend it. If you are at all interested in the Ninja Turtles, you have to have these figures. They are just phenomenal. Absolutely great. I can't stop talking about them. I need to, because otherwise I'm just going to ramble. Love them. So good. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up almost every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.